Tonight, inside the strike from the war room, the U.S. Tomahawk attack in Syria. How will Assad respond? Tonight, a war of words as Russia lashes out. The Trump administration warning it's prepared to take further action. NBC News exclusive, the military options for North Korea presented to President Trump. Sources say they include placing nuclear weapons in South Korea or killing Kim Jong-un. We have the controversial plans. Truck attack terror, barreling through a crowd, slamming into a Stockholm department store, dead and injured in the street. Who's behind it? Slashing your bills by hiring someone else to do it for you. How families are saving big. And Fantastic Four. Wait till you see what these competitive quadruplets accomplish. Nightly News begins right now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening. Aftermath. The U.S. tonight assessing the damage and measuring the reaction and fallout to that punishing air raid on Syria. For several long minutes overnight, dozens of American Tomahawk cruise missiles rained down on the Syrian military airfield that's been linked to this week's deadly chemical attack on civilians in a rebel-held area of the country. 6 people on the ground were killed in the overnight missile strike. Tonight, as post-strike images of the airfield emerge, we have new details on how the U.S. operation unfolded, the message sent, and questions over whether this opens a new chapter in a civil war that President Trump repeatedly promised to steer clear of. We have 2 reports. First, Richard Engel on the missile attack itself.
New images tonight from Russian TV of the Syrian base attacked on orders from President Trump. They show little destruction. Russia apparently trying to downplay the impact of the strikes. But the U.S. military late today releasing these photos showing significant damage to the base the U.S. says the Syrian regime used to launch this week's deadly chemical attack. At 7:40 p.m., 2 Navy destroyers in the Mediterranean launched 60 cruise missiles targeting the Asheirat airbase. 1 missile misfired into the sea. The rest, direct hits, destroying 20 Syrian aircraft, reinforced hangars, fuel and weapons depots. The U.S. says it avoided targeting chemical weapons on the base to prevent dispersing toxins. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's government today called the strikes foolish and politically motivated.
They attack us in one way or another in order to help the terrorists stay their ground.
The more serious dispute now is with Syria's backer, Russia. The U.S. military says it informed Moscow before the strikes to avoid Russian casualties on the base. Now, the U.S. military is investigating if Russia was complicit in the chemical attack or merely failed to stop it. A war of words today at the UN Security Council.
The United States took a very measured step last night. We are prepared to do more, but we hope that will not be necessary.
We describe that attack as a flagrant violation of international law and an act of aggression.
Putin's spokesman called the attack a significant blow in relations with Washington. But this attack, limited and apparently a one-off, was not about redefining relations with Syria or Russia, but sending a message.
I think it was a win for the Trump administration. I think they've demonstrated forcefulness to the international community. The question is, the other side gets a vote. What will the Iranian Revolutionary Guards do? Hezbollah militias, and for that matter, Assad himself.
Russia said today it will increase its air defenses in Syria. The U.S. military, however, says there are no indications Moscow plans to retaliate. And a meeting between Putin and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson scheduled next week in Moscow is still on. Lester?
Well, Richard, also we're learning more about the drama behind the scenes in the moments leading up to President Trump ordering those strikes on Syria. NBC's chief White House correspondent Hallie Jackson takes us inside those critical hours, which have also led to reports of a potential shakeup among some White House power players.
Today, no response from President Trump. Asked about his strike in Syria.
Thank you very much.
A decision he made after what the White House calls a 72-hour evolution. Tuesday morning, the president's briefed on the attack, quote, disturbed by it and asking for options. That triggers 48 hours of intense meetings, including one en route to Palm Beach. By Thursday afternoon, a decision green-lighting the strike. In the Mediterranean, the launch beginning. In Florida, the president hosting China's leader for steak and salad. 90 minutes later, he's briefed in this secure room at Mar-a-Lago. The mood inside, cautiously confident, according to an administration official. Not long after, the president addresses the nation.
Even beautiful babies were cruelly murdered in this very barbaric attack.
This now has provided the administration a demonstration moment for the rest of the world, to include the Chinese and the Russians, to understand that there's a new sheriff in town.
In Washington today, lawmakers briefed about what happened.
The signal is as important as the actual damage that was done.
But even some who back the strike don't like how the president cut out Congress.
I think the president owes it to the American people to come to Congress and present a plan.
The administration argues the commander-in-chief can decide on his own to take military action to protect the U.S. But by getting involved in Syria, the president reversed his past position, even as the White House insists he's still committed to America first. That's the policy pushed by Steve Bannon, recently ousted from the powerful National Security Council, sparking speculation he's losing influence. The White House pushing back on reports of an imminent staff shakeup that could include Bannon and Chief of Staff Reince Priebus. Crisis management on multiple fronts in the aftermath of the president's most significant military moment yet.
And at Mar-a-Lago, an important diplomatic moment as President Trump wraps up his summit with the Chinese president. The two committed to working toward a denuclearized Korean peninsula and a 100-day action plan on trade, with President Trump accepting President Xi's invitation to visit China. The dates still being worked out. Lester?
Hallie Jackson tonight. Hallie, thanks. And getting back to that growing nuclear threat from North Korea you mentioned, NBC News has learned exclusive details about top-secret U.S. military options presented to the president, some fraught with controversy should all else fail in reining North Korea in. We get that from NBC News senior investigative correspondent Cynthia McFadden.
Multiple top-ranking intelligence and military officials tell NBC News that if diplomacy fails with North Korea, President Trump's National Security Council has presented him with some highly controversial courses of action. First, placing U.S. nuclear weapons in South Korea, an aggressive show of force. The U.S. withdrew all nuclear weapons from the Korean peninsula 25 years ago at the end of the Cold War.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think that it will only inflame the view from Pyongyang. The idea that we would use a nuclear weapon, even against North Korea, is highly unlikely.
The former U.S. ambassador to South Korea, Mark Lippert, also believes bringing back nukes to South Korea is a bad idea, but that it is very much being discussed in Seoul.
It's an interesting debate in South Korea. What I would say is that public support for reintroduction of tactical nuclear weapons is climbing. Some polls put it well over 50%.
A second option, target and kill North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, and other senior leaders in charge of missiles and nuclear weapons.
Decapitation is always a tempting strategy when you're faced with a highly unpredictable and highly dangerous leader. The question you have to ask yourself is what happens the day after you decapitate. I think that in North Korea, it's an enormous unknown.
Pushing for regime change could also cause trouble with the Chinese.
Discussions of regime change and decapitation tend to cause the Chinese great pause or concern and tends to have them move in the opposite direction.
A third option, covert action, infiltrating U.S. and South Korean special forces into North Korea to sabotage or take out key infrastructure. For instance, blowing up bridges to block the movement of mobile missiles. The CIA, which would oversee such operations, told NBC News it could offer no guidance on this option.
The best strategy we could undertake if we are forced to reach to a military operation would be some combination of special forces with South Korea and cyber.
Should all of these options be under discussion?
It's mandatory to present the widest possible array of options. That's what enables presidents to make the right decisions, when they see all the options on the table in front of them.
Whether any of these options are adopted hinges in large part on what happens with China, whether they agree to put more pressure on North Korea. Senior officials tell NBC News that for now this issue has been upstaged by military action in Syria, but soon enough they expect it to be back front and center. At the White House, the National Security Council spokesman declined to comment. Lester?
Some sobering choices there. Cynthia, thank you. Tonight, a massive manhunt is underway in Sweden for the person or persons behind a suspected terror attack in the heart of Stockholm. A driver plowing a stolen truck through a crowd in a busy shopping district, leaving bodies in the street before slamming into a department store. NBC's Keir Simmons has late details.
Panic and confusion seen in this surveillance video as a stolen truck barrels through the city centre and into an upscale department store.
I saw 8 people get dragged over.
Bodies lying on the street, and I could see the police covering a body with an orange blanket.
It was just before 3 p.m. in Stockholm. Smoke billowing out of the wreckage. More than a dozen people injured. 4 killed.
One police told me that if you have kids and you want to see them again, you should leave now.
Within hours, the country's prime minister took to Twitter, saying all indications are that this is an act of terrorism.
This is not a safe place.
In the chaos, police evacuated the area, uncertain if more attacks were imminent, launching a nationwide manhunt for those responsible. Hours later, one suspect arrested. Police also releasing a photo of a man wanted for questioning. Today's brazen attack is the latest, using a vehicle to kill and cause chaos. It's something experts call low-tech, soft-target terrorism. Just last month, in London, an SUV mowed down pedestrians on Westminster Bridge. In December, at a holiday market in Berlin, 12 dead, dozens injured. And the horrific Bastille Day attack in France last summer, 86 people killed. Tonight, the Eiffel Tower, dark, recognizing this grim day, a horror that country, and now Sweden, know all too well. So far, no organisation has claimed responsibility for the attack, and tonight police here tell NBC News the driver of the truck has not been arrested. A manhunt underway here tonight. Lester?
Keir Simmons in Stockholm tonight. Thank you, Keir. And tonight, back in this country, a big victory for Republicans, circumventing a Democratic roadblock and now celebrating the confirmation of Judge Neil Gorsuch to the U.S. Supreme Court. It comes after a vacancy battle that lasted well over a year through 2 administrations. And as our justice correspondent Pete Williams reports, he could have an immediate impact.
66 days since he was nominated by President Trump, federal appeals court Judge Neil Gorsuch was confirmed. That's slightly faster than average. After punishing hearings and a change in Senate rules to eliminate the filibuster,
he will make a superb justice.
Democrats face the inevitable, no longer hoping to block him.
We are charging Judge Gorsuch to be the independent and fair-minded justice that America badly needs.
The vote, 54-45, 3 Democrats voted yes. Donnelly of Indiana, Heitkamp of North Dakota, and Manchin of West Virginia.
The nomination of Neil M. Gorsuch of Colorado to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States is confirmed.
The most consequential decision I've ever been involved in was the decision to let the president, being elected last year, pick the Supreme Court nominee.
Neil Gorsuch becomes a justice Monday when he's sworn in with a public ceremony at the White House, like the one 11 years ago for Samuel Alito. President Obama's nominees, Sotomayor and Kagan, were sworn in at the court because he thought that symbolized judicial independence. Justice Gorsuch will hear and vote on the final cases of the term, including an important test of religious freedom. A Lutheran church in Missouri that was denied state funds to resurface its preschool playground says that's religious discrimination, turning it down while public schools got the money.
It's been 14 months since Justice Scalia died. The vacancy Neil Gorsuch will now fill on a court that's eager to get back to full strength. Lester?
Pete Williams, thank you. Still ahead, saving you money. The negotiators who will haggle on your behalf to cut down those big monthly bills. One family telling us they saved over $2,000. We'll be back with their story.
Did you notice that there's so many prices out there for the exact same room? I know. I've been asking this a lot lately, but this is what it really means. The same hotel room can have up to 10 different prices across the internet. So even if you spend a lot of time looking around, chances are that it's still out there for a better price. So make one last check before you book. The Trivago check. Trivago.